diseases and famine under our current global capitalist structure.
Whose individual fault is it?
Yeah. Why is it with the system when it comes to communism, but it's actually,
go from 40 years to 80 years in America for women and 76 years for women.
You're not answering my
Global
question.
poverty is at its all-time low than it ever has been. It's dropped below 10%.
You're not answering my question. You're not answering. You're talking about something
There's not a
completely
singular
different.
person why individuals might die, unfortunately. However, what's going to stop
that?
that?
It's unfortunate when they die.
Oh, yes, yes, Hasan. Death is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Marxism has killed more people than any other ideology over the last 100 years.
Okay. Thank you for those words.
You're welcome.
When 100 million people die under a communist dictatorship, and some of those millions are also Nazis, which is included there, whatever, you blame communism.
The National Socialist Workers Party?
Or to explain it to
is
you?
Cuba not socialist? Is North Korea not socialist? Was Vietnam not socialist? Was Zimbabwe not socialist? You can laugh all you want, Hasan,
okay, do you
but
want
100 million people died under socialism in the last 100 years, and you have the gumption to continue. You can keep laughing to the victims' families from Cuba, from Venezuela, from Korea, from Vietnam, from Mao's China, from Stalin's Russia. The number one killer of citizens, from innocent civilians in the last 100 years, has been the very idea that you shamelessly wear on your sleeve every single day. Marxism has killed more people than any other ideology over the last 100 years. So Hasan, why don't you give 95% of your money away and go live on a commune?
Do you really think that that's how it works? Do you really think that that's how it works?
Go live what you preach. Because every single day, you talked uninterrupted for 5 minutes. Hasan, let me finish.
Go ahead. Sorry, you're right.
I live what I practice. I'm a free market capitalist. I employ people. I took a risk. I have my own startup business. Every single day, I practice what I preach. He wants other people to contribute to what he considers to be a good idea, what he considers will make the world a better place. That you have the freedom to go live as a socialist. Go do it, Hasan. What's stopping you?
Okay. Right. So here's why this is ridiculous. And the last point I will make is this. Here's why that conversation is absolutely preposterous. If I gave away the measly earnings that I had and gave away 95% of
How much do you make,
that
Hasan?
wouldn't necessarily even push the needle. I will be very honest. It's really embarrassing, especially because my boss is sitting right there. I make $60,000 a year, okay? And that's a really good salary. But if I gave away the measly earnings that I have, I make $60,000 a year, okay? And that's a really good salary. But
if I gave away the measly earnings that I have, I make $60,000 a year, okay? And that's a really good salary. But
Hasan says, well, I don't want to take your worker earnings away. I want to go after your employer, essentially to make sure. I don't have the right to tell anybody what to do with any of their money. That's the big difference, Hasan, is that you're trying to
It's their money, Charlie. It's the workers' money. They are just taking away and accumulating the profits for themselves. I'm not, and by the way, I'm not even saying abolish all profit.
This is a distinctly Marxist argument, by the way.
Just because it's Marxist doesn't mean it's a bad idea. Stop being an idiot, dude. God damn it. Like.
Oh, okay, so I'm so glad you mentioned that. So.
It's so silly, like as if we implement socialized medicine, we're going to eat rats like Venezuela.
I didn't say it was bad. I said it was Marxist, and now I'm going to tell you why it's bad.
Oh, okay.
The problem with the Marxist argument is the incentive structure. In a free market system, incentives, everybody is incentive to create value, get a job, or take a risk and employ people. Under a Marxist socialist system, you're incentivized to either run for political office, get as much power as you possibly can, to try to extract money away from people that don't have it.
What about cooperatives? Like, I don't understand. There's multiple different ways to do this.
Then do that voluntarily. Go do what the Amish do. Go live in northern New York. In America, we have people that live in cooperatives today. Don't tell me how to live my life. You can live your life however you want to.
It's just,
the big difference and distinction is that it's impossible to live as a capitalist in a socialist country. You can live as a socialist in a capitalist country.
It's impossible to have capitalism without socialism. You could never.
How's that?
You could never implement capitalism without public roads, without the infrastructure necessary to bring private industry. What the hell are you talking about? You can live in a socialist country. It won't be great if it's a fully socialist country. I don't think we've been able to figure that out yet. So I'm not even saying that a fully socialist country will be great. But you have never, ever lived in a fully capitalist country.
You pay tolls? You pay tolls?
So that's it? That they're
financing?
That's a user
fee. That's not socialism. That's if you use the highway, you pay for the highway.
Highways are
you pay
not
a gas tax.
Okay,
you pay a gas tax. So if you drive a car, you pay into the highway fund.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how it works, Hasan.
You're right. Socialism is just what you want it to be, and not what it actually is. You're right. Never mind.
Program that will not benefit you to send the money to someone else that is in a different socioeconomic circumstance. Free market capitalism is the greatest wealth-creating engine in human history. It's lifted more people out of poverty, and you are a beneficiary of the very system that you are bashing right now.
No, because it's not free market capitalism. It's so stupid. You want to reform campaign finance laws and give me specific examples of how you want to do that? Because I don't think Foster Friess, who's one of your donors, is going to be very happy when he finds out you're talking out of turn.
And I'm sure that the Democrat teacher unions are going to be pretty upset when you start talking about putting caps on Citizens United. Myth number one, that somehow only Republicans and conservatives benefited from Citizens United.
I don't care
the
what
Democrat
they think.
labor unions were the biggest beneficiaries.
There are plenty of libertarians who feel
Hillary Clinton outspent Trump 2-1. So don't give me the idea that somehow
I know.
Campaign finance reform. No more dark money.
Specifically.
24-hour reporting period, unlimited contributions.
Unlimited contributions?
Yes.
Are you out of your mind?
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Out of your mind?
Let me ask you a question. The Young Turks Network.
Yeah.
Would you say that it's more liberal or it's more conservative?
It's absolutely more liberal, dude.
So when you talk, you're influencing an election.
You think it's
Should that be regulated?
You think us?
Because that could be considered political speech.
No. You think
see where that can get really dangerous?
Think that, hold on, let me just understand your line of reasoning here. Do you really think that Pfizer spending like $500,000 on a campaign so that we don't have to regulate drug prices, that's the same as me, a person who very outspokenly criticizes both parties, talking about it from a leftist perspective with almost zero actual representatives to support? That's the same to you? What an insane
Okay, so every speech
analogy.
has currency, okay?
What an insane analogy. You
all
have to be a little
all
bit
speech
more
has
rational.
some form of currency.
You have to have a little,
whether a celebrity
endorses
a politician or whether a political action group endorses a candidate. So if your position is that money, allow me to finish, that money is speech, therefore money represents value, all speech must therefore be regulated. That when Lady Gaga endorses Hillary Clinton,
flat
you must
logic
endorse
to something that is insane.
Please, for the love of God, let me finish a sentence,
But it's insane.
So first of all, if you want some more numbers, Hispanic median income is at $50,000 right now a year, which is the highest it's ever been in American history under President Donald Trump. Wages have gone up 3.8% in the last 18 months. Hispanic unemployment is the lowest it's ever been. Black unemployment
in the last, what month? 3 months?
Hassan, for the love of God, allow me to finish, okay?
No, 3 months, that's a ridiculous point. That's a ridiculous reference point, Charlie.
Okay,
that's
what?
The point.
The lowest ever black unemployment rate.
Years. I gave you a 60-year window, and you said the last 3 months have been 3% better. Crazy.
3.8% wage growth, $50,000 annual median income for Hispanic family, which is the highest it's ever been in American history.
Okay, I don't care about authoritarianism. Obviously, I'm not an authoritarian. I don't like our current almost proto-fascist government right now.
All right.
Wow. Okay. Can I say?
Go ahead.
So
go ahead.
Here's something, Hasan, just so the audience can distill this. I don't trust the government. Therefore, why make the government bigger? Hasan says he doesn't trust the government, and he wants to make government bigger. He says, the government is... This is Hasan. The government is largely bought by lobby...
Are you literally doing a "this is Hasan" right now? Do you think you sound intelligent?
Can I summarize what you're saying?
Okay, go ahead.
We agreed that lobbyists have too much access to this government. You want to make that government bigger, stronger, more powerful. I want to make that government smaller, more accountable to the citizens. That's a huge difference between conservatives and progressives. Let's bring it back domestically then. Why is it the most murderous, hopeless, and poor cities in America are all run by Democrats?
What? What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're bad. What do you want me to say? Okay, sure.
Well, because your very policies are put on trial in Philadelphia and Chicago and Oakland,
like Rahm Emanuel, the big socialist who said
Milwaukee.
Chicago needed socialized medicine and that's why there's gun violence.
Chicago's
Chicago's
already entertaining universal basic income, of which you support. They're
entertaining so you're saying they premeditatedly are having a lot of violence because they're going to implement universal basic income?
Well, they also have the strictest gun laws in the country, but
one time.
You're a big fan of those too.
Please make a good argument one time.
No, can you answer the question though? Why is it that the most murderous...
Some of those Democrats are bad. What do you want me to say?
Or maybe the ideas are bad, Hasan, and maybe the ideas don't work.
But what are the ideas? Like, do you
the
really...
The ideas are high tax,
but they're not implementing socialist principles. That's
limiting
not
government freedom. Not investing, not allowing entrepreneurs.
Name one socialist principle that Rahm Emanuel has tried to implement in Chicago.
The strictest gun laws in the country. Let's start with that. The fact that he doesn't allow school choice. The fact that he cracks down on the voucher system in Chicago. The fact that Chicago has the highest property taxes in the country. The fact that Chicago just instituted income tax. These are all quote-unquote progressive ideas. Chicago is more bankrupt,
Are you against
hopeless.
all taxation? Can we just get this out of the way?
No, I think we should have lower taxes. And thanks to Donald Trump, we have the lowest tax rate in 60 years.
Give me a...
Free market capitalism. The fact that we have abundance in light, air conditioning, The fact that we have more food that we throw away every single year than we actually eat. The fact
that
in the Western
you
world...
think that's a good thing? You think that our waste is a good thing, dude?
We have an abundance problem in the West, not a scarcity problem.
Yeah.
In Venezuela, the average Venezuelan has lost 17 pounds. Oh, yes? 4,000% inflation. Yes. Brink on the Civil War.
Venezuela,
number one oil
only
reserves in the world.
socialist
They don't have a
country on the
functioning
planet,
economy.
everybody.
Yes. The fact they have 42% unemployment. Yes. The fact that Maduro continues to exploit his citizens around the lies of Karl Marx. Yes. Is that what we're talking about, Hasan?
Yes. I love that you think you owned... Oh, my God. Like I said, Venezuela has virtually the same Venezuela has socialized its extraction industries, which is why it is extremely comparable to a Nordic country like Norway. If socialism successfully is implemented, or at least social democracies are successfully implemented in countries like Norway...
Sanders, the Democratic presidential candidate who calls himself a socialist, has used Denmark as the example of the socialist utopia he wants to create in America. During the Democrats' first debate last month, he said we should look to countries like Denmark, like Sweden and Norway, and learn from what they have accomplished for their working people. Danish Prime Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen said he was aware that some people in the US associate the Nordic model with some sort of socialism. Therefore, he said, I would like to make one thing clear. Denmark is far from a socialist planned economy. Denmark is a market economy.
Then some countries fail because they're corrupt or because of currency mismanagement or because of a variety of different reasons like the IMF or American sanctions or even backing military coups in the country, which Donald Trump apparently, the world leader in peace, is toying around with as if that has worked ever in Latin American countries or anywhere worldwide. Like, there are a multitude of different reasons why socialism or a more robust social state has not worked in Venezuela, but it obviously has been successful in other countries.
Like Zimbabwe, Cuba, Vietnam, North Korea, former Bulgaria, former Belarus,
Charlie,
East Germany, Soviet Union. Those were great test cases
Charlie,
for socialism, right?
I'm glad that you know countries. I'm glad that you are demonstrating that despite our public education system, you are still knowledgeable on different countries. Stop naming countries and let me finish, okay? All right.
So how do you get things to cost less? Competition, which is inherent in a free market.
Regulation.
Raises prices. Regulation prices out middle-class consumers. Regulation is a tool used by corporations to go after small business owners. That is why the biggest corporation...
Oh, the small business owner like Pfizer. You're right, dude. Come on,
Pfizer has a $100 million a year government lobbying budget.
I hate that. We agree on that.
That is corporatism. Yeah. That is not capitalism. It's different when you have a good idea versus buying lobbyists, sending them to D.C., saying put all these rules and regulations that I can afford, but the entrepreneur from Silicon Valley that has a 5-person company can... Second of all, ironically, Donald Trump is making the world a safer place. The Korean War is ending thanks to Donald Trump. ISIS is on the run and being destroyed.
What does this have to do with us lying to our veterans that we were going to take care of them and then letting them be homeless on the streets,
which is socialized medicine, the Veterans Administration, which is socialized medicine, does a disservice. You advocate for socialized medicine. I do not want the rest of the country.
I'm not saying the VA is good. I'm saying that it's underfunded.
That our veterans have to.
You're using that as a tool to just attack socialism,
no,
attack
socialized
medicine.
It's called evidence.
This works in every other country that has tried to do this. This works. The system absolutely works.
How does the Cuban healthcare system work?
The Cuban healthcare
system.
The Cuban healthcare system? Oh, you mean the country where they're on the verge of solving AIDS and a multitude of different cancer research? Like, what are you talking about?
Where their life expectancy is 15 years, less than the United States, where they have widespread starvation, where they lock up political dissidents. Why do people flee Havana, Cuba for Miami, Florida?
I don't know. Maybe our sanctions have something to do with it.
For Havana, Cuba.
And assume that this is just a consequence of free market capitalism. Well, let's talk. Yeah, no, it's actually unicorns, dude. Unicorns are giving us magically the.
Hassan, answer me a question.
If we're going to lie about this stuff, then we might as well just go all the way out.
Does insurance cover LASIK?
Does insurance
cover LASIK?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because when you don't have the insurance lobby within the negotiating of prices, then the consumer knows exactly what everything costs. The reason why healthcare costs so much in this country, you go into a hospital, no one knows what anything costs. No one knows what anything costs for how long you stay there, for how long the procedure is. A key component of a market is pricing.
Yeah.
The problem with the system we have
and we
now,
live in a country that is
it's not a
virtually the
free
only
market
country
system.
on the planet that does not negotiate drug prices. Even Donald Trump said he was going to do this, and he's failed to deliver on that promise, among many other promises, like he was going to solve the economy or that he was going to bring about world peace. Like, this is preposterous to assume that, like, insurance, you could just unjustifiably just throw out a claim without expecting me to, I can't even talk, holy shit, refute it when you say, when you make this ridiculous assertion that insurance companies are actually decreasing prices when it's not the government
no, they're
who
not.
should be
It's
regulating
Hassan,
them.
I asked a very specific question.
What?
LASIK eye surgery
But then you
not
followed it up-
covered by insurance.
Okay.
Consumers went straight to the doctor, so they knew how much it cost. Therefore, prices went down, quality went up, and accessibility went outward. That's what
why is it
happens
in
when a
virtually
market
every
is
other-
allowed to
Hold on.
exist.
You're right, dude. Come on,
Pfizer-
dude. You're right, dude. Listen, listen.
Bernie-
Charlie, I want to hear your solutions on pimping.
You know what the fuck
Federal
you're talking
Reserve,
about?
Federal Reserve lowering,
Oh, whatever,
Federal Reserve
dude.
lowering interest.
Like, so ridiculous, dude.
Maybe if I interrupt him, people won't hear him destroy me.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head.